Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Thank you very much for your comments on yesterday's little broadcast. And today I'm going to talk about a super prison that's being planned by the Ministry of Justice and another prison that's been in existence since the 1960s called HMP GARTREE. Now, there is a programme on BBC Radio Fast Sounds. It was on Radio 4 last night, and I'll put a link down below, above the advertisement for my book, I'll put a link on there to advertise this, to enable you to click on the link and go and listen to this. It's about 28 minutes, I believe it is, of interviews and discussions about HM Prison GARTREE. On that, it starts off where the Ministry of Justice is now planning to build a second prison next door to GARTREE, which is based in Market Harborough. Of course, there's problems at GARTREE, and they interview, a very good interview, by the way, with a former prison officer who served 25 years at GARTREE, name of Des, and he made a lot of sense, actually. He said, mainly did anyway to me, he said that the idea of this being a jail where there was staff were all authoritarian was not the case. He said, generally speaking, the idea would be to actually allow the inmates to speak to you and treat them in a humane manner, which is absolutely, really, when you think about it, the only way that you should do the job. If you do the job the other way, the old strange ways way, where it's you do this, you do that. I mean, that's for a local prison. That's how local prisons run. Because you've got such a massive turnover of prisoners, you don't actually get to know them most of the time. They're just passing through, being allocated out to different units, serving short sentences, 3 months, 6 months. Whereas at HMP GARTREE, it's a lifers prison. So the inmates that are in there are in there for a long time. And basically this Des made a great deal of sense when he said you shouldn't ever make a promise to an inmate that you don't keep. So let's say the inmate asks you as the landing officer, can you allow them access to the library to get books and various items to study? You agree you're going to do that, then you do it. You don't fob them off. And that way, the inmates develop a kind of bonding with the staff. It isn't anything like that at jails such as Strangeways, Pentonville and Wandsworth, where the actual turnover of inmates is rapid. But Des was saying, which surprised me really, because it kind of contradicted to a certain extent what he was saying in the first place, was that during his time, 25 years as a prison officer at GARTREE, he'd probably been involved in approximately 1,700 incidents of violence, which is over one a week, by the way. If you look at it, 1,700 divided by 25 divided by 52, 60-odd incidents a year, which is quite a lot. I mean, that's quite a lot even for Strangeways. I mean, I was involved in incidents at Strangeways, but not every week. I mean, there's a certain outstanding ones where you are battling up and down the landings, people barricading themselves in and having to be smashed out of the jail cells and hauled down to D1 to meet the school bully. But that wasn't every week. It was quite often the case that you would have to get your hands on somebody because they were behaving in an aggressive manner. Not essentially against the staff, but against other inmates. Yeah. So I'm going to put a link down below to this BBC Radio 4 programme about GARTREE, so you can click on that link and go and listen to it yourself. It's on BBC Sounds. Yeah. The one point that they did make about this was that building a massive prison next door to HMP GARTREE would not work. It wouldn't be possible because they can't get the staff to work at HMP GARTREE. They're short-staffed. The BBC reporter did interview the governor, who would not disclose the actual staffing level deficiency that they were experiencing at GARTREE, probably for security reasons, but he wouldn't disclose it. And there is a massive problem, as Des was saying, that when they restructured the prison system, which they did, when they started bringing in teenage girls to act as discipline officers on the landings, they did that because they were downgrading the pay scales, and the Home Office or the Ministry of Justice were persuading all the long-serving prison officers to take redundancy packages that they were offering to get them out of the system, so that they could operate on a one-level, low pay rate basis. Yeah, and Des was saying that he was probably the last discipline officer at GARTREE who was receiving the proper remuneration. Because when I say proper remuneration, it was the old civil service pension, where you were paid, where your pension was up to 48th, so you got half pay when you retired. And I previously mentioned this on here. I have my pay slips from 1984-85, which was the last full financial year that I did. And in that year, that last financial year, I actually earned in excess of £17,000, which in today's terms would be around about £50,000. Now, they don't get that these days. They get £23,000, £24,000. So you could see why the Home Office would, or the Ministry of Justice would want to get all the, what they call them, dinosaurs out of the system. But the problem with doing that is that the people who are leaving the system actually know how to run a prison. They actually do know how to make it work. And you get 19-year-old girls in there, and there was a comment made in that programme, as you will hear if you listen to it, saying that you get a 19-year-old girl on the landing shouting at some middle-aged prisoner, get behind your door. And they're saying, well, listen, don't talk to me like that. I've got a daughter that's older than you. It's just the truth, you know. They haven't got the respect. They don't command the respect. And they're not recruiting prison officers from the old system that I came from, which was the military. They recruited almost, not exclusively, but certainly exclusively back in the 40s and 50s. They recruited from the NCO, the non-commissioned officers of the British Army, which is where I came from. And I didn't have any problem. I mean, it was straight into the jails and straight back into uniform and, right, you do this, you know, off we go. No hesitation, as if I'd never been away. But what they were saying in the programme is that how are they going to staff a 1,700, that's what they're aiming for, 1,700 place prison, when they can't get the staff for HMP GARTREE. They're short-staffed, can't get them. Nobody's applying. Nobody wants the job. Well, if it's low pay and it's long hours, I mean, don't forget the prison service. You're working weekends, you're working nights, you're working bank holidays, you're working Christmas. Seriously. I mean, one year I actually worked Christmas and New Year. Happy days they were. So anyway, do have a listen to that. HMP GARTREE. You'll find the link at the bottom here. And now, by special request, they are the Song Dinger. You're all trembling now, folks. You're wondering, what the hell am I going to get today? Yes, well, a special request, actually, by a man who is often mentioned on here, writes somewhat sarcastic comments, Mr. Larry the Goatherd, who has requested Chinese Laundry Blues, which was originally recorded by George Formby, which I did yesterday. I did window cleaning. Yeah, I'm a window cleaner, man, yeah. So here we're gonna go. I'm gonna really rip this shirt off his back. Are you ready? Stand by for action. Chinese Laundry Blues was originally recorded by George Formby. I actually met the lady who used to clean for him when he lived in, his house was called Berraldine in Blackpool, yeah, just outside Blackpool towards St Anne's actually. And she was telling me that George Formby's wife was a real tyrant, you know, a control freak who was a lush. Strange, eh? Anyway, time passes. Just shows how old I am, doesn't it? Anyway, here we go. This is Chinese Laundry Blues. If you don't like it, well, do your own shirt. Now, Mr. Wu was a laundry man in a shop with an old green door. He'd iron all day, holding it away. He really made me sore. He lost his heart to a Chinese girl, and his laundry's all gone wrong. All day he'll flirt and scorch your shirt. That's why I'm singing this song, oh, Mr. Wu. What shall I do? I'm feeling kind of Limo's Chinese Laundry Blues. That funny feeling keeps from me stealing. Oh, won't you throw your sweetheart overdue? My vest's so short that it won't fit my little brother. And my new Sunday shirt has got a perforated rudder too. Oh, Mr. Wu, what shall I do? I'm feeling kind of Limo's Chinese Laundry Blues. Now Mr. Wu's got a naughty eye that flickers. You ought to see it wobble when he's ironing ladies' blouses. Mr. Wu, what shall I do? I'm feeling kind of Limo's Chinese Laundry Blues. Now Mr. Wu, he's got a laundry kind of tricky. He starched my shirts and collars, but he'll never touch my waistcoat. Mr. Wu, what shall I do? I'm feeling kind of Limo's Chinese Laundry Blues. I bet you loved that, didn't you? Eh? Larry the Goatherd's dancing round with Billy Goat Gruff. Anyway, there we go. Check the link below for that item on GARTREE. And don't forget, folks, buy my book.